So, hello, boys and girls. Hope you have, before we start this second session, hope you have already gone through the very small first session and you have tried installing the OpenOffice software on your system. So, without wasting any time, let us straight away jump into the very fundamentals and the core concepts and the terminologies related to our topic, that is databases. Okay, so in this session, in this very small session, we are going to learn about few basic concepts like database, database management system, which in short is also known as DBMS. Again, another thing is relational database management system, RDBMS, tables, relations, tables which are also known as relations, and what are tables made up of, that is rows and columns and various other names of the same. But before we further dive into the discussion of these terminologies related to databases, let us take a very small scenario related to our own school, that is APS PRTC. So we are all part of and members of our school APS PRTC, and there are many people who are part of our prestigious institution. And all those peoples, if you can see, they can logically be categorized into three types: are the students, teaching staffs, and non-teaching staffs. Okay, so that means our entire school, if you see, our entire school is made up of three types of people. Okay, one is your students, another you can say is your teaching staffs, and that is your teachers, and another is non-teaching staffs. So broadly, we can classify all the members of our prestigious institution, that is our school, into these three categories. Okay. So for the smooth functioning of our institution or our school, all the data and records related to the students, teachers, and non-teaching staffs have to be maintained and updated on a regular basis. And this can be one big tedious task. Considering we must, if you're not having an idea, I'll just like to give an approximate idea that the total strength is somewhere, including all the people related to our school, it comes around somewhere 16 to 1700 people. Though not exact, but somewhere you can consider it is somewhere near to this figure. Okay, so maintaining their records, the data, and retrieving them at any point of time, updating their records. Okay, so it is one big tedious task and requires, we may think that it requires a lot of effort and some manpower behind it to keep it updated and fetch as and when required, the information as and when required. But fortunately, our school has some wonderful staffs. To name one, that is Sunita ma'am, who is managing our school office. And she is tasked with maintaining and updating the records of all the people associated with her school. And of course, she is a very intelligent lady. I always used to wonder how a single person can do this much enormous task and so efficiently and in so less time, and that is very quickly. Because I have seen her many times coming up with the records of the students in a matter of seconds. A matter of few seconds, she'll come up with some information like some sort of magic. So finally, one day, after lots of persuasions and lots of pleas for some time, she agreed to disclose her secret to me. How she is able to manage this entire you can say the data of somewhere around 16 to 1700 people so efficiently and so quick, and she is able to bring out the details as and when required so quickly. So this was sort of something that is that always used to keep me you can say puzzled, perplexed. How is she doing it? Okay, so after lots of effort, she finally agreed. Okay, I'll tell you how I actually do that. So this is the account of the conversation that went on between us on that particular day, and where I finally came to know, okay, how she is doing her magic. Okay, so she said, See, Piyush, I have created a database for our school using which I manage the records and data of everyone in the school. I was like, okay, fine, but what is database? I've never heard of it. So I asked her, ma'am, what is database? So, and yeah, I also grabbed one chair near her and I took my place. Okay, and she also took one piece of paper and pen, and as if she is explaining, she took a piece of paper and started writing something. And she said, see, visualize our school as a big rectangular box with all the members categorized into three types: students, teaching staffs, and non teaching staffs, all represented under three separate tables, that is, students, teachers, and non teachers. And she drew something as shown below. So just have a look at that figure, and that will help us understand what she meant at that particular time. Okay, so she drew one rectangular box and she asked me to imagine this entire rectangular box as a school. And she gave it a name, APSPRTC. And she said, all the different types of people who belong to her school have been categorized and mentioned under three different tables. Okay, so we can see that this collection of the three tables, that is students, teachers, and non-teachers, she said to refer to as our entire whole school, that is APS PRTC. Okay, and she also put on the markings as to what is the concept, underlying concept, and to so that I understand it in a better way. So she said the outer boundary or the outer rectangular box is to be imagined as our school. Okay, that is all the data of our school. And internally, this outside boundary, which she was referring to as database, she named it as APS PRTC. So this outer boundary refers to the entire collection of data of our school. But internally, this whole collection of data she divides it in three types and in the form of tables. First one for the students, second one for the teachers, and third one for the non-teachers. And each of the table deals with the records of the members belonging to that category. For example, in the students table, you can see that is admission number is the first column, name, class, section, phone number, and address. Just to give an example. Similarly, for teachers, you can have employee name, employee number, name, phone number, address, salary, various other things. And similar for non-teachers. So, and she explained by writing it and labeling it as below. So, outer label box, that is the entire data of the school is to be considered as database, inside of which the entire data is organized in the form of tables. So outer boundary, that is the whole school, she named it as APSPRTC, containing inner tables of the database, wherein the data is organized in the form of separate tables for all the different types of members of a school. And of course, she explained that tables are nothing but you can say intersection is formed by the intersection of horizontal lines, that is horizontal rows, and vertical columns. Also, one new term that she referred was at times these tables, that is the student, teachers, and non-teachers table, another name for this table, and at times people refer to it in this way, and that name is relations. Okay, similarly, the rows of the tables are also known as tuples and records. So the rows, that is the horizontal lines that you see, okay, and that is formed as a result of crisscross or the intersection of rows and columns. The horizontal ones, they are also known as the tuples and records, tuples or records. And columns, that is the vertical ones, are also known as fields and attributes, fields or attributes. So I was really impressed and sort of in awe at the same time, and I asked further. Okay, and I rather said further that this seems to be a really nice way of organizing data. So just to make sure that I understood her correctly, I just reiterated my point. So ma'am, you mean to say that by database, you mean organizing data related to any institution and organization like our school collectively under a single name? like you are doing in our case. For example, all three types of data organized in the form of a table. That is what she was. I was referring to the figure that she drew. So that all the three types of tables, all the data of different types of members, she organized in the form of tables, and collectively, this collection of organized data, she gave it a name as APS PRTC. So that means that container, the outer container, I said, okay, are you suggesting that this that is the container which contains all the three types of records organized in the form of tables, is that the database? So that is what I meant. So all three types of data organized in the form of tables and collectively giving it a name, APS PRTC. What is that the database? That is what you mean? She said, yes, Piyush. Database can be defined as an organized collection of data. In our case, we have our database organized in the form of three tables, which collectively form our database known as APS-PRTC. So yes, now you seem to have understood database is just a container with a name that contains organized data. That I was really impressed. So, but yes, another question came to my mind, and I immediately shot at her. So, ma'am, it is still a still a very tedious task. So creating three tables, each with so many rows and columns, and where are those tables? I cannot see much document around here on your table or in this office. Where have you written these tables? And how do you look up for the record of any member within few seconds if required? So I thought, okay, fine, there must be some box which she must have labeled as APS PRTC. Inside it, she must have kept separate files, with each file containing the tables and the rows of this of student records, the teachers' records, and non-teachers. I was thinking something in that lines. She said, bursting into laughter, of course. No, I do not maintain database and tables inside tables and inside the database on papers. So what she meant was, she doesn't do it on papers. That is maintaining database and the tables inside those database. She doesn't have any papers or any record books for that. So it's all there in my computer, she said. That means everything that she was referring to was in the digital format. Okay, so that's why the papers were not there and there were no record books around her. So I use a special software, she further went on. So I use special softwares for creating and managing databases and the tables inside. That software helps me manage and search for any record whenever required in a matter of few seconds. Such softwares that help you manage, manipulate database and retrieve data from a database is known as database management system. Okay, so now she further explained there are many DBMS softwares. The database management system in short is also known as DBMS. So she further went on to explain there are many DBMS softwares available in the market and they may use different ways to organize data. But one of the most popular ways of organizing data inside a database is by creating tables, like what she drew here. So what she meant was database, this organizing data, okay, and then collectively referring to it as a database by giving it a name. This can be done in many different ways also, other than creating tables. Okay, it can be done by creating plain files, text files with some rows and columns separated by commas and whatever. She told me, but she said you don't need to go into that. Okay, this is because of course time crunch was there, so she wanted to just explain how they are managing it. Okay, so she meant that there are various ways of organizing data depending on the members associated with your organization, but what they prefer or what we prefer in our school is by creating tables, and then those organized tables taken together collectively by after giving a name is known as the database of our school. So that is what she was explaining to me. So she said there are many ways, there are many DBMS softwares available in the market and they use many different ways to organize the data. But one of the most popular ways of organizing data inside a database is by creating tables. Okay. And DBMS softwares that manage the database of any organization institutions by creating and grouping into tables are called relational database management systems. Okay, so we can say they are known as relational database management systems. So I'll just correct it here. Relational database. Okay. Or I'll grab it. Database management systems. Okay, so what she meant was that though there are various ways of organizing your database, that is, there are various ways of classifying data, but one of the most popular ways in this world is by creating tables, and then those sorted data in the form of tables, in separate tables, are collectively referred to as database. So this is one of the most popular ways, and we are also following that. And when a software manages your data by by dividing your data in the form of tables, depending on different types of entities or the people associated with your organization, then such a software is referred to as relational database management systems. So DBMS and RDBMS are also softwares. So DBMS is a generic name given to all the softwares which help you manage data. And RDBMS softwares are also DBMS softwares, but they are those special types of DBMS softwares which help you manage your data by creating table, and all those tables taken together related to one particular institution is known as a database. So RDBMS is a software that helps you manage your database by organizing your data in the form of separate tables which are collectively taken together and known as one single database and given a name. Okay. So one RDBMS that we are using, she went on further, is called OpenOffice Base. So she went on further and explained that though there are many types of RDBMS softwares available in the market, but we are using one particular, and that is OpenOffice Base. It's just an example, she further explained. And she went on to say there are many RDBMS softwares in the market. For example, MySQL and Oracle. So to name some. So, but in particular, and this particular software will be the focus of our study, which is nothing but OpenOffice Base. Oh, I was of course really very impressed, and that was like something divine knowledge to me. So I said, oh wow ma'am, so that was really enlightening. I'll also try OpenOffice Base. And I couldn't say anything further. Like I was I got some revelation. Okay, so that's a handy software. And I also thought in my back of my mind, I'll right away go and explore about this. So I simply went up and said, thank you, ma'am. Of course, I thought I was the only expert in computers in the school. Such a fool. Anyways. So what was my conclusion? So what I concluded was that if we have a huge amount of data to be maintained for any particular organization, institution, or for your school even, then the best way and the very convenient way of managing it is by organizing it. If we have to maintain it, then we can organize it in the form of database. Okay. For this, we may use specialized softwares, and like we have seen, the databases are what? Organized collection of data. So our huge or the big chunk of or bulk data that we have can be managed efficiently by organizing in the form of database. And for this, we'll not maintain some papers and record books. Rather, we'll use some specialized softwares which help you manage your database, and they are known as DBMS. And further, if we would like to have our database organized in the form of tables, so we will go for the DBMS softwares which help you organize your database by creating tables. And such DBMS softwares we will be calling as RDBMS softwares. Okay, so though there are many RDBMS softwares, but as per our syllabus and as per the curriculum, we will be going with and we'll be rather learning and exploring one particular RDBMS, and that is OpenOffice Base, which we have already downloaded, hopefully in session 1. Okay, so this was a brief thing about RDBMS, in fact, whole databases. So I'll just summarize a bit in next 1 minute or so. So if you have got huge quantities of data, the best way is to organize them and then collectively term your organized data as databases. But we do not do it using pen and paper and some piece of this files and record books. It will be very inconvenient. So instead we take help from the computers, and we get some software installed on the computer which will help us manage the huge quantity of data by organizing them. And such softwares are called as database management systems. And if we want to organize our data, if we want our DBMS softwares to maintain our databases in the form of tables, collection of tables, or organized collection of tables, then we will go for a special type of DBMS softwares which are known as RDBMS softwares, which will create tables, and collectively those tables will be known as one database. Okay, though, and like we have seen, though there are many types of RDBMS softwares, for example, like we saw earlier, MySQL and Oracle, but our focus of interest and as per the curriculum is OpenOffice Base. So that's all for this small session, folks. We'll continue in the next session further. Thank you.